welcome to Connections with Stacey Levine Lavely. You guys are not going to believe who is coming on the show today. Oh my goodness, from so far away. We are so lucky. All the way, even though he really doesn't need an introduction, from the North Pole. Welcome to Santa Claus.
Hello, everybody. Oh, how wonderful to be here. How wonderful to be with you, young Stacey.
Oh, you too. Oh, I love you even more, Santa. My goodness, you call me young.
You are young, yes. Oh, I always say the first 1,000 years are the hardest.
I have a long way to go.
Well, there you go. There you go, indeed.
So I want to introduce you to our audience. So a lot of our audience either has special needs or they are caretaking or parents of kids with special needs. And one of the reasons I wanted to have you on the show is for obviously the benevolence and the kindness that Santa Claus shows. But most importantly, you actually have audience with some of our friends. And my son did this with you last year. We got to chat with you, and it was the most thrilling experience, I think, of his life with Santa. Well, and yeah, absolutely. And what I love about it is your elves actually contact people ahead of time. They have us fill out information so that you are able to talk to our kids, depending on, how they communicate best, and you're able to share experiences with them. And it's not just like sit on the lap, what do you want for Christmas? It is an actual conversation with the kids. So first of all, I think the most important thing for me to know, because I'm just dying to ask you, is how did you ever come up with this idea, and especially for this community where it's so hard sometimes to even get us to get them to the mall and be able to talk to you, and you actually provide an in-home experience that we don't have to do that. And especially if people are dealing with wheelchairs and things like that, or oxygen tanks, feeding tubes, it's just really hard to get out in public and things like that. So what you're doing, I mean, it's such a huge service, but how did it start? Where did it start?
Well, I have to say, it's thank you for your very kind words. You're very, very sweet. And it is important to know that for me and all my elves, it is as special for us to talk to people and to talk to them directly into their own homes and to know all about them as it is for the child or the recipient of the call, really. I mean, it is a magical, wonderful thing. There are so many things associated with Christmas, but the most important thing is that togetherness, and is that friendship and that love and that warmth. And no matter where you are and what your beliefs are and what your situation is, I think we all deserve a little bit of together time and a little bit of warmth, and just to remember the magic in life, really, because we spend an awful lot of time being reminded of all the things that are a little bit rubbish, don't we? So it's quite nice to have a wonderful time and just remember all the good as well, because there's plenty of it out there. There's plenty of good out there. And well, when it comes to the second part of your question, I mean, I've been meeting people live in grottos, in department stores and malls, as you call them, for years and years and years. And last year, with these sort of unique challenges that we realized that people were facing, it wasn't possible for Santa to meet people face to face in the conventional way. So we decided that there have been opportunities to meet Santa online going on for quite a while, but we decided last year that was clearly going to be a way that there would be an appetite for people to chat to Santa direct into their own homes. And I have to say, it was an accident in many ways brought about by those circumstances. But it was truly a wonderful, wonderful experience and a learning for me and my elves that actually there's something wonderful about a live encounter. And I'm not for a second knocking that, but there was something really uniquely different and special about an online chat with the children and people we spoke to direct into their homes because, well, as you say, you didn't have all the challenges or difficulties of getting there and the queuing and all the other things that come with it. But also, I have to say that the children tended to be a lot more relaxed because they were in a safe environment of their own home, a familiar environment, and that made them a lot more relaxed and indeed receptive to a conversation, because even a friendly old soul like me sometimes makes people a little bit shy. So it's quite wonderful to see them a little bit more relaxed and forthcoming as they tell me about their year and their Christmas and what they're up to, what they're doing, etc. So it really has been genuinely a marvelous, marvelous experience for us all. Yes, yes.
Yeah, for sure, because you really did create that intimacy. It was wonderful for the parent. I mean, like I can say for parents, for me especially, just watching his face light up, like you guys talked about Lion King and you talked about Disney and you talked about all this stuff. And he had that time.
We sing some Lion King songs, if I remember.
Yes, he did. He sang you quite a few songs, if I remember correctly.
And I think I joined in, but rather badly. But I tried.
I do it all the time. He's used to being people who are tone deaf, so it's all good.
Well, there you go.
But and so like for me, that was just an incredible piece, and just the fact that he was able to connect with you. And for him, it's a little bit different because, as you know, he's a little bit older. So most of you guys out in the audience know my son's 18. He'll be 19 next month. And it's just, he gets very strange looks from little children when we're at the malls and things like that. Because, I mean, here's this big man, basically a young man, and he's trying to meet Santa Claus, and they don't their parents don't sit on Santa Claus's lap. So why does this almost 6-foot kid want to sit on Santa Claus's lap? But that's who he is. So again, it made it less stigmatizing, which I think is like really huge. And, on top of all the other delays, especially as they get older and they still want to see you, they still want to meet you. He still wants to make sure that you know what he wants, because he knows if he tells it to you, it's really going to happen. And that's really important. I think that's important for a lot of our kids. So this opportunity to do this, that you're still carrying forward, pandemic or not, I hope this is something that you do continue to do, because it's just so special for this particular community.
Yes, I think that's absolutely right, Stacey. I think you're absolutely right. And I don't pretend to be any great expert in anything other than Christmas, if truth be told. But you were right, and I think we're all a long time in this old life not believing in magic. Mm-hmm. And I think that whilst we can still believe in magic at whatever age, then that's a rather wonderful thing. And I totally hear and do empathize totally with what you're saying about the challenges of the conventional ways of meeting me. And it's delightful to hear that this is an opportunity that is somewhat more pleasant, I suppose. But yes, you are right. Most of the people that I do meet at Christmas time are children. I am the patron saint of children, but everyone was a child once, weren't they? And I like to think that I'm everybody's friend, no matter what age and no matter what circumstances they come from. And the only difference for me, I just love talking to people. And some people, whatever their age, find conversations easier than others, and some are interested in different things to others. And all I do is listen, really, and just go with it, whatever that conversation may be. And that can be like in the case of your son, wonderful boy. He was wonderful. He was a delight to talk to, and I'm not being polite. He was absolute joy. And you were right. He's a big fan of Disney, and I seem to remember talking to him. I mean, I'm going back a few months now, so forgive me if I'm not recalling this quite. But I seem to remember we did indeed talk about the Lion King and the fact that there was a new Lion King movie that he was very into, and we sang a few songs, and I joined in rather badly, I have to say. I joined in. And it's just a question of going with it and having a wonderful, special encounter, because I think everybody in life, again, no matter what age or circumstances, needs a friend, that they can trust. And I'm very honored that quite often that friend is me, because I don't come with any baggage. I don't come with any baggage of everyday life with school and friends in your community. I'm just a trusted, hopefully, a trusted friend that that thinks very dearly of all the people in the world and enjoys having a little chat with them whenever I get the opportunity. And it's quite wonderful to hear that in the case of your son, that was something he enjoyed as much as I did.
Absolutely. And just to kind of let people know, one of the incredible things about this is you are actually sent, when you schedule your appointment, you're sent a questionnaire, and you really can go into depth, because my son doesn't talk very much. It really, you have to drag stuff out of him. So for my particular case, this is what I shared with them, and I shared some of the things that he likes and he enjoys. So they were able to connect on a really deep and cellular level, which was really important to me to see that happen. Santa Claus, he was petrified of you till he was about 10 years old. He would not go anywhere. He always wanted to wave to you, but he would never go near you at the mall. He was absolutely terrified. And I remember,
very common, that is very common. There's lots of people who are very excited about the idea of meeting, and when they do see me, they get all
overwhelmed. Yeah.
If you think about it, I don't mean to sound boastful in any way, but I am the first sort of celebrity that people meet in their lives. Before they meet any pop stars or TV stars, etc., they know and often meet Father Christmas, and that's rather wonderful. So I'm with them from a very early age, really. And I do know that sometimes on those very rare occasions when the real Father Christmas, myself, can't be there in person, I do know that some people help me out and dress up as me. But I do think often one of the unfortunate things is what you touched upon earlier, is a Father Christmas that says to a child or a visitor, what is your name and how old are you and what do you want for Christmas? Because of course the real Santa, me, knows all these things because I saw you last year. So of course I know who you are and what your name is, and you are right. Little trick of the trade you've just let out to all your thousands and millions of followers is that occasionally I do have a little bit of help from the elves, because I do remember everybody. Of course I do, and they're all very, very dear to me. But even Father Christmas sometimes needs a little bit of a prod. So we do, in advance of chatting to me and booking a slot in my diary, do send a little email. Elf Wiseacre or Elf Sprout will pop an email across and just ask to be reminded of a few things and to find out what's happened in this past 12 months since we last spoke, so that Santa, when he speaks to the children or the visitor, can converse with them, knowing exactly who he's speaking to, and all those that familiarity, which I think is very important to us all, isn't it? So you're right, we do that in advance, and that means that we can start the call by saying hello to them by name, and of course knowing all the things that's happening in their world, which I think is rather special, because no one wants to talk to a stranger, especially one that they meet every year.
That is very true, which makes you really not a stranger. Absolutely. And that's like, this is one of the reasons that this is just such an amazing project that you guys have taken on. Again, you get to know them. You're going to be able to grow with these kids now and the adults and things like that. And really kind of, they're going to become your fan base. I mean, I love how you said that you're kind of the first celebrity, but a lot of these people, you are going to carry through their life. I mean, I know my son, if anyone ever told him that you didn't exist, he would think they were crazy and he would completely ignore them. Yeah. And
no, and people say things like that, and I think it's quite ridiculous. I mean, I'm here, aren't I?
Yes, exactly. I'm talking to you.
See, I'm talking to you, my dear, and I remember you very well from when you were a little girl, you see. So I remember you all those, well, I say all those years ago, only a few years ago when you were a little girl, and I seem to remember, if I'm not mistaken, that you used to have a very untidy bedroom, did you not?
Yes.
Yes. Do you still? You still have one. I remember delivering your presents on Christmas Eve and almost tripping over some toys. And these things happen, you see. But I think you're absolutely right. It's important that people know that I am here and I'm their friend, and I always want to chat with them. And what's been so wonderful about this discovery, if you like, of me speaking from here, you could zoom to the North Pole, if you like, with Santa HQ. And what's quite wonderful is that the children, like your dear son, who we sang Lion King songs and had a chat about all the different things, had he not also, correct me if I'm wrong, had he not made something? Was there a display or something that he'd done, or he'd made something?
Yes, he showed you a gingerbread house that he made.
Santa's brain is not too slow, is it?
That's amazing. He was not prompted. I did not tell him this, guys.
No,
this is all right off the cuff.
That's quite true. I remember there was something behind him. I remember it very, very clearly. Yes, but sometimes, I mean, I had people last year who wanted to show me that they'd been practicing the piano, so they played the piano for me, and that's marvelous too. And every conversation is different. They showed me the chimney that they want me to come down, and showed me where they want me to leave the presents, all sorts of, and pets. The amount of pets I met and got introduced to, and you don't normally get that in a mall, do you? You don't get that opportunity. So it really is something special. So I thank you for your kind words and for giving me the opportunity to talk to all the people that you know, and maybe encourage them to give me a call and pop a slot in my diary, because I'd be delighted to speak to them too. I really would.
Absolutely. And I do want to share. So it's called Santa HQ. I'm going to let you give the website because I'm not sure. Do you know your website?
It's very easy, very easy. It's santahq.com. That's all it is.
I wasn't sure if that was all it was, so I figured I'd let you do it. We're also going to, you guys are going to be seeing this in replay, so we'll have that down there as well, just to make sure that everyone's able to book a slot. Keep in mind that Santa is on GMT time, so he is 5 hours ahead of us, because we know time continuums and things like that. I mean, he does have to get everybody their presents on Christmas Eve. So he's a little bit ahead of where we are. Oh, wow. It looks like a pair of shoelaces.
Oh, how
sneakers, like big sneakers or something, all the laces. That's awesome, though.
No, it's the roof, because we have to make sure we go in the right order in order to make sure it's always nighttime, you see, because we have to visit 843 million homes in one night.
Yikes.
You know how to do that? You know how we make that possible?
Nope.
One word.
Magic.
Magic, yes, magic. Magic indeed. But you're quite right. And you make a very good point about the timings. My elves got terribly confused last year trying to work in the times of all the different people of the world. So we've settled it on just one time zone this year, because the elves got very confused indeed. So yes, I think where you are is 5 hours, is it not, behind?
We're 5 hours behind you.
Behind GMT, as it's called.
The GMT, yes. I know you're really in the North Pole, but they're the ones who are going to be setting up the Zoom for everybody, you know, the elves, because Santa has helpers all over the world. Some of them are at the North Pole. They're everywhere, just like angels.
And please do remember that when you speak to me or when you see me in a public place, that it will always be the real Santa. Yes, it will always be the real Santa, and he can't wait to see you. There's so many wonderful things about Christmas and the presents. I ask people what their favorite thing about Christmas is, and most people say presents, which is a very predictable answer. But actually, what I think really is, when you boil it down and talk through with them, it's not the presents at all, really. It's the act of the giving, and it's the act of the receiving, and it's the act of the togetherness and the warmth, and just reminding how much we mean to each other is actually what Christmas is about, really, isn't it?
It really truly is. And I will never forget, like, you know, getting back to you also. I mean, like, that was kind of a gift for him. But in reality, it was a gift for me, because seeing him light up the minute you started talking about Lion King and you started talking about different things that he knew and that he loved, and knowing he had an even deeper connection with you than just asking you for that present, just created a whole new level of happiness for him. And as a parent, often our kids aren't the ones who tie their shoes right away. Like, those are like little miracles for us. And that was a moment I had no idea which way, like if he was going to get freaked out, because when he was younger, his grandma lived in Hawaii. And she used to try to Skype with him. Well, she stayed there. I shouldn't say lived there. They had a place there. And he used to think she was caught in the computer.
Oh.
And so I wasn't sure if he was going to think you were like trapped there. He wouldn't be able to see you. You wouldn't be able to come, things like that. But it was a complete opposite. And it was just that magical moment. And I mean, I still to this day, like when I think about your call with him, I still just get happy tears, because it was just the most incredible, delighted look on his face. He just lit up from like ear to ear, and I was just like, oh God, is this going to be okay? Is this da 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 da? I mean, you get so nervous as a parent, and you just turned it around for him, and it was just absolutely incredible. And like his whole energy in his body changed, just everything was just open and receptive to you, and that is so huge, especially with autism, because that's not something that's typical. Especially when he's face to face with someone like this close and this kind of intimacy and things like that. It's one thing when you're next to someone, but you're always kind of getting shooed out because, the next kid wants to come. There's a huge line and all that kind of stuff. So there's only so much time you can spend with them there. Yeah. And then you have the lights and you have the big trees and you have people talking and singing and the intercom. And there's just a million things. And like with kids with autism, like the fluorescent lights sometimes can bother them because they can hear that whirring because they're so in tune that it gets very overwhelming. And a lot of times they just completely shut down. So watching that energy change, even when he goes to see you at the mall, as opposed to that direct one-to-one, I can't recommend these conversations enough. So I really hope everybody, does one of these. So
I am genuinely so grateful you've said that. And of course, we would love to encourage more people to book and give us a call. Of course we would. I wouldn't pretend otherwise, but quite genuinely, it is also, it's a gift, it is a gift being able to talk to the people that wish to talk to Santa. It really is. And it's very, very rewarding. And hearing things like that it was something that was quite special to you and your son, well, that makes it all worthwhile. It really does. And I think also, and I don't mean to sound shallow at all. I mean, I have 712 elves that I look after here, but and some may think that is a challenge, but it's not really. It's easy. I think what you do is quite remarkable. And I think, yes, it's about your son, but it's about you too, Stacey, and all the other mothers and families and friends out there in similar situations. I think you deserve enormous credit and enormous thanks. And I know you won't want me to dwell on that or to hear about that because it's just what you do and it's just part of your life. But I think it's true anyway. I think it's not a bad thing occasionally just to remind each other that, well, we're quite remarkable, really. We really are, and you certainly are, and I hope you know that.
I appreciate that so much. And yes, so many moms and dads and grandparents and caretakers and teachers that work with this population. It takes a village and it takes a community, whether it's a neurotypical child.
Isn't that a wonderful expression? It takes a village. I think it's marvelous.
Absolutely. And my tagline here is creating unity in the community, because for me, at the end of the day, that's the most important thing is, we have to, as communities, rally around these, people who do have challenges, and it can be any kind of challenge. It doesn't even have to be special needs, but we all need to have a little place in our heart for everyone. And this time of year just amplifies that so much. So do you have any final thoughts or words you'd like to say, Santa?
No. Other than to thank you once again, and to reiterate actually to the people, because you obviously have experienced a chat with me at the North Pole, but just to reassure everybody that actually every conversation is different. And if the recipient is keen and excited and chatty and up for it, that's great. And if they're shy, that's also fine. You just need to be assured that Santa will listen and Santa will do his best to go with the situation, because it can be unpredictable, but it can be rather marvelous as well. So I genuinely want to thank you for the opportunity to talk to you and to hear the wonderful, very kind things you've said. And I'm delighted that you experienced it. And I can't wait, actually. I can't wait to speak to your son this year.
I know. I'm trying to figure out a time for him. His schedule is so wacky this year. I was just
So's mine, Stacey. Very busy. Very busy. But no, thank you so much. And if I make it bold, it's santahq.com is where you can find us. And yes, do remember about the time difference so we don't get all confused there. But I wish you all, everybody, whether we speak again before Christmas or not, from the bottom of Santa's very large heart, I wish you all a wonderful Christmas full of love and happiness. So thank you so much, Stacey. Thank you.
And what more can I say? Happy holidays to everyone. Remember, we want to keep creating unity in the community. Have an awesome holiday season, and we'll talk to you soon. Thank you.
Thank you, Stacey. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. See you soon. How marvelous.